Hi, everyone.
Everybody,
Hello.
hey!
We are so excited to be back for another virtual happy hour with you. This is a monthly tradition that we started back in February, and now it's already Memorial Day weekend. So June is almost here. It's crazy how time is flying. But we see people popping in, and we have 12 people watching so far. If you're tuning in, give us a hi, a hello, and shout out where you're watching from in the comments. We definitely want to chat with you all this evening. It's all about sharing some delicious vegan taco recipes and, of course, some drinks. We got some cocktails, we got some mocktails, and sharing some of our tips for how to go vegan and stay vegan, just things we've picked up over the years. So I'm Jessica. I'm Afro-Vegan Society's Director of Programming, and I have a lot of things working already in front of me because I'm cutting up limes and juicing oranges to make my strawberry citrus punch. And I'm going to be serving that alongside my cheesy chorizo tacos today. So that's what I'm going to be cooking up during this happy hour. Jasmine, you want to go next?
Yep, so I'm Jasmin. I am the manager of donor relations, and tonight I will be making a walnut mushroom taco cup. And then for my drink, I'll be doing blood orange spritzer.
Delicious.
What's going on, people? It's your girl Ray, your neighborhood mixologist. So today I am going to be making a pineapple paloma, something nice, light, refreshing, and I'm going to be doing jackfruit carnitas.
Wonderful. So if that sounds delicious to you, let us know. If you're snacking on something good, you know it's Friday night. It might be a night that we're cooking up some comfort food or picking up some takeout. Let us know what you're munching on. And if you're having fun or you think somebody would enjoy this stream, go ahead and share it with a friend or a family member. We want to invite as many people to this virtual party as possible. We got some tunes playing very low in the background just to set the mood. And I just want to shout out some people who are watching so far. So we've got Dream Your Sunshine here. We've got Jacqueline Richardson from DC. Paulina is here. Hi, Paulina. We've got Mark Goza from Houston. Hey, Houston in the house. We've also got Janine Stevenson and Reverend Black Dynamite. Ooh, it's munching on some avocado toast. So we are glad that y'all are here with us. Like I said, share it out. But with that said, let's get into the first preparation for the night. So Jasmine's going to kick us off with the drink that she's going to be making. So we will give the screen to her.
Cool. There we go. All right, guys. So if you've been tuning in since the first couple of happy hours, you know that I'm all about simple, easy recipes. So my blood orange spritzer is so simple. All you need is a blood orange, some lemon juice, some date syrup for the sweetener, and then your sparkling water. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have my blood orange here. I'm going to go ahead and cut that in half. And then what you're just going to be doing, you're just going to be taking the juice of one blood orange. I have this little easy citrus juicer. I'm just going to put that on top, and I'm going to extract my juice from it. So simple. If you don't have this, that's all right. You can just use the power of your hand, squeeze the juice out, get as much juice out as possible, and then use sort of like a mesh strainer, and then you'll have some juice. You can also use a juicer if you're one of those individuals who's lucky enough to have a juicer. You can use that and get your juice. So you can see it's filling up in here. So literally, I'm just taking this juice like so. I'm gonna stop so I don't waste my juice. And then I have my cup here, and I'm gonna just pour that juice into my cup. All right, and as you can see, I still have some pulp at the top. So I have my mesh strainer here. I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna put my pulp on top so I don't waste any juice, and then I'm just gonna squeeze the rest of that juice out, okay? And it's so simple. All right, once you got all the juice out of the remaining pulp, I just have some lemon juice here. I'm just gonna use a splash, just like so. And then I'm gonna go in lastly and add my date syrup. You can use any type of sweetener that you want. You can use agave syrup. You could use cane sugar, brown sugar, anything that you really enjoy as a sweetener. I'm gonna just take my whisk and whisk that together. Big syrup is sort of thick, so you really gotta whisk it to break it down so you don't have like the chunkiness in it, but it does have a nice sweet taste to it. Okay, and once that's all mixed up, I'm gonna go ahead and add my spring water. And I just have this can here of spring water, or sparkling water, I'm sorry about that. And then pour it in slowly so it doesn't, explode over the top. Pour nice and slowly. You can see the bubbles rising. Just enough. I'm gonna go ahead. I have my metal straw here. I'm gonna give that a mix around. And then for a nice little garnish, I'm gonna take another blood orange, cut out an orange slice, just so it has a nice little decorative look to it. Cut a little slit in that. Put that on my cup. Take a couple of ice cubes so it's nice and refreshing. Add that into my drink. And voila, you have a nice, simple blood orange spritzer. And again, you can add as much juice or as little juice as you want. You go ahead and give that a taste. Really good. So that's what we have for our drink this evening.
That looks delicious.
It really, really does. And it's so
Like you
simple.
were saying earlier, Ray, you want something nice and refreshing, especially with these hot summer days coming up.
Yes.
This is it.
I love it. Well, my drink that I'm going to show you all how to make next, I think is a nice transition because it's also made with citrus. So I'm going to take it away and show you how to make my citrus strawberry punch. All right, hello everyone. So before I came on camera, I went ahead and juiced a bunch of citrus. Actually, I need to reserve a few tablespoons of this for a later part of my recipe. But here basically I have the juice of 2 tangerines, 3 lemons, and 4 limes. This is just what I had in the house, but I want it to be really citrusy and fresh and bright. So this is just as simple as adding a few ingredients to a blender, blending it up, and the drink is ready to go. So I'm going to pour all of this juice. This is just about a cup of citrus juice. So like I said, you can use whatever you like, but I have lemon, lime, and tangerine juice here, freshly squeezed. I'm going to pour that in. I also have 2 cups of strawberries. So these were frozen strawberries that have thawed out a bit just by sitting out at room temperature for about an hour. But you could totally use frozen if you want it to be like a daiquiri type of texture, or you could use fresh. It's whatever you have, but I'm going to go ahead and add those on in. See? Okay. Now we have those 2 items into our blender. Now I'm going to add in our sweetener. So I'm using agave nectar today, but you can use whatever vegan sweetener you like. You could use maple syrup, coconut sugar, turbinado sugar, cane sugar, whatever you like. You could even use cane juice, like sugar cane juice. That would also be really delicious. But I'm going to add about somewhere between a 1/4 cup and a 1/3 cup in here. This is going to make about 3 to 4 servings. So I want it to be sweet, but I don't want it to be overly sweet. But as with everything, you adjust the sweetness to your liking. And then the last thing that I'm going to add in is about a teaspoon of vanilla extract. I started doing this in drinks and it just takes the flavor over the top. It adds like almost a nice mellow, creamy flavor to things sometimes. And I think it complements the citrus really, really well. So I'm just going to eyeball about a teaspoon of vanilla extract in there. That's optional, but I think it makes it nice and special. And now I'm going to add in about a cup of water. So let me grab my water. Once again, I'm eyeballing this, but just enough. Okay. So now I'm going to take my blender cap and put it on. This is one of those single serve blenders. It's nice, it's high powered, it's high speed, and it has an automatic timer in it. So I'm just going to let it do its thing here. Okay, and so it only takes like 30 seconds to get this nice, smooth drink here. So you have some more options at this point. If you want it to be super smooth like punch, you could use a strainer, but I like the pulp, so I'm going to add that in. Oh, and Joyce is asking, what is this blender? This is called the Beast Blender. I think you can get it on Amazon, but yeah, it's called the Beast Blender, and I really like it. It has like the power of a Vitamix, but it's really nice and compact. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour this on into my pitcher. And you see it has a really nice smooth texture, but like I said, if you want it even smoother, you can strain out the extra pulp. But this is a delicious drink that I'm going to enjoy with my tacos later on. Serve it up with a little bit of ice or maybe some extra frozen strawberries just to get it nice and cool so it's not watered down, and that's how you do it. So I hope you enjoyed this drink option, and after that, we are going to get back to Ray, and she's going to show us how to make her drink.
What's up, y'all?
That looks great, Jessica. I love that you use the vanilla. That actually gives it like nice little layers and really, ups that flavor.
Yeah, it's really nice. I started doing it when I was making popsicles, and now I do it anytime I make fruity popsicles or just any drinks.
That's a good tip. That's a really good tip.
Thanks. So, Ray, are you ready to take it away?
I am.
Wonderful. The screen is all yours.
All right, y'all. So I'm keeping it simple. It's hot outside. Nobody has the time or the energy or the AC to sit up there doing all this stuff around the kitchen. No. So this one is going to be simple. It's going to have some nice fruit. We're just keeping with the citrus theme. So we're going to keep it nice and refreshing. So I am doing a pineapple paloma. Again, pretty refreshing drink. I've got some pineapple here. I sliced it up myself. If you're trying to go easy, you can also have pineapple chunks in a can, whatever floats your boat. So I sliced up some fresh pineapples, and I use my handy dandy hand juicer. I call it my hand juicer because you pop something in, and then you just squeeze the juice out, okay? So when you're doing something simple and you don't need like the heavy duty stuff and you don't feel like washing a whole bunch of dishes, you can always just pop some fresh fruit in here and just hand squeeze it out. And, I don't know about you guys, but I work on a computer a lot, so my hand gets stiff, so I consider that that good stuff working to get those muscles going, right? All right. So for this, it takes 2 ounces of pineapple juice. So I cut up the chunks of pineapple, use my handy dandy squeezer, and put 2 ounces. So that's 2 ounces pineapple juice. And then lime juice. You're going to do half an ounce of lime. And what I did was just take a regular lime. If you want to be do a key lime, I just took a regular lime and squeezed out 2 grams of that to give me about a half ounce. You don't need too much because you don't want to go over citrus with it. You've got pineapple, you've got lime. You don't want to go over the part. So here we've got our pineapple and lime. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pour that. Next, we're going to do 2 ounces of tequila, okay? And so here I've got Rocco tequila, but whatever your favorite tequila is, feel free to have at it, as long as it doesn't have anything that's going to kind of overpower it. You want a light tequila, nothing, anything too heavy. So we're doing 2 ounces of this. Now, if you like your drinks to have a little bit of sweetness, especially if you're considering we're doing citrus and you want something that puts like just that little sweet type to kind of take the tang off, you can also stir in a little bit of raw agave or whatever sweet that you like to use. And you want to put that in when you go to mix. I'm just going to put just a small amount, probably about a half a teaspoonful. So we've got our ingredients. We're going to add some ice. And you know what's coming up next? It's fun time. And you always gotta put the extra attitude in it, like you're really at the club. And it can be you all by yourself. That's okay. You didn't have to pay to get in the club. You're just gonna go have at it and dance to your own song. Okay? Build up a sweat and now you're thirsty. Guess what? You got a nice tasty drink right here. All right. Now you could put additional ice in if you want, but I like to put enough ice in here so that way it gets its chill. You get a little bit of the ice melted, and that'll be perfect for me. However you want to do it, you go right on ahead. All right. And then just to do a garnish, make it a little fancy for y'all, just a little fancy. I'm going to go ahead and put a lime wedge on and put a pineapple with it. Now, just to let you know, I saved the pineapple pulp. So I'm going to actually use that and do some, put it in some dairy-free yogurt or anything like that. We'll probably just sit here and eat it like when we're done, whatever. I love pineapple. But there you have it. Cheers.
Mm-hmm. That looks great, Ray.
Big cheers. Big cheers.
Yes. Okay. And let's see. We have comments. So let's see some of the comments we have from people who are watching. So, people are liking the blender. I'm glad. Yeah, check it out on Amazon. It's under $200, so it's super affordable if you're in the market for a new blender. EA wants to know what's in the drink. EA, we did a couple drinks. Jasmine, what was in your spritzer?
So my spritzer was just a juice of 1 blood orange, a splash of lemon juice, some sparkling water, and some date syrup.
Lovely. And then for my drink, the citrus strawberry punch, it was just 2 cups of strawberries, the juice of lemon, lime, and tangerine, some agave nectar, and a splash of vanilla extract. And then we just saw how Ray made her pineapple paloma, which looks so good as well. Dawn wants to know, would any spices go well with the drink? Oh, ginger. I feel like ginger could go in any of these drinks you just saw, honestly. So feel free. And let's see. Yes, people are enjoying what we're preparing so far. And now it's time to get to the meat, the vegan meat of this virtual happy hour. And we're going to start whipping up our tacos. So Jasmine, do you want to kick us off with your taco cups? All right. So let me get you in position and take it away.
All right, guys. So once again, we are doing a walnut mushroom taco cup. And what I love about these walnut and mushroom mixture is that it gives a nice meaty texture. So the walnut gives that meaty texture, and then the walnuts helps add like a nice hard texture to it. So I already went and I blended up my walnuts. I just roughly chopped my walnuts in my blender. I have a Vitamix back there. And you don't want to keep on blending. It just tap, blend until you get it in a nice fine walnut chopped consistency. And then I went ahead and I did the same thing with my mushrooms. Again, you don't want to make a paste out of it. You just want it nice and finely chopped. So I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat on my oven, on my stove. Go ahead and heat my oil up. And I just already chopped up some bell peppers and some red onions. So I'm just go ahead and saute those together and let those brown up. And now mix that around so that it's nicely coated in the oil. Now let that brown up for a little bit. While I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my taco cup. So for my shell, I'm using the Mission Street Tacos. I like them because they're nice and small, compact, and they fit right into the muffin pan. This is the muffin pan here. I picked up from the dollar store, $1.25. And then I'm gonna go ahead and twist it and put it into sort of like a cup shape, and put that right into my muffin pan. To notch up the flavor, I will go ahead and I made a garlic butter here. I just mashed up some garlic, melted some butter, mixed it together, and just go ahead and coat the inside of my taco shell. And that gives it a nice buttery, garlicky flavor. Okay, and I'm gonna make one more. So 2 in total. So again, you can go ahead and make how many tacos you want. No one's judging you. Eat as many as you want. Okay, and this is what we're looking like so far. Okay, we can go ahead and set that to the side. All right, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and add my chopped walnuts to my pan. And again, I'm gonna wait until everything browns up before I add in my mushrooms. And for me, this mixture, it really tastes like ground beef, and it also looks like ground beef, like when you finish mixing it all together. I'm gonna just go ahead and remove this so you guys can see what it's looking like so far. So you see like it has like a nice brown consistency. And that's what we want. All right, so then I went ahead and make my seasoning mixture. Of course, you can use a taco seasoning pack, but I made these for the past couple of days, and I really love my homemade taco seasoning. And of course, when you make taco seasoning, you look at a taco seasoning that's already out there, and then adjust it based on your liking. So I look at the ingredients from the taco packet. Of course, they have chili pepper, paprika, sea salt, garlic powder, onion powder, cumin, cayenne. So you just take these ingredients and adjust based on your liking. So in mine, I just use some umami seasoning, and then I also use my, I picked up this slut dust from the Slutty Vegan, and I just love it on everything. So this is what's going on in my mixture here. And this is about a half a tablespoon of seasoning. And of course, what I love about making your own food, you can adjust so it's not as salty or as salty as you want it. It's really all up to you. So now that everything's starting to brown up, I'm gonna give that another mixture, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my mushrooms in. And again, you wanna keep on, make sure that you are continuously stirring so that it does not stick to the pan. All right, now I'm just going ahead and add in my mushrooms. And then I'm gonna add my seasonings on top of that. All right, once that's all in, I'm gonna go ahead and get a nice mix. Okay, and if this begins to stick a little bit too much, you can add a splash of water. You don't want to add too much water because you don't want it to be too mushy. Okay? I'm gonna just add a splash. All right, now while that's beginning to cook down, I'm gonna go ahead and layer my taco shells. So on the bottom of my taco shells, I'll be using some refried beans, and these are just pinto beans. What I love about these is that it's quick, convenient in a can, but then when you look at the ingredient label, ingredients are prepared beans, boiled pinto beans, avocado oil, sea salt, organic paprika, and onion powder. No ingredients that you can't pronounce. Everything you can pronounce in all whole foods. So I'm gonna just go ahead and take a scoop of the pinto beans, and I'm gonna put that at the bottom of my taco cups. So what I love tacos is the perfect time to layer your food, get all these different amazing flavors just bursting through in every bite. So that's the goal with these, okay? All right, this is what we're looking like so far. I'm gonna go ahead and give my meat mixture one more stir, and I'm gonna take that off the heat and put that onto my taco cups, okay? And at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and turn my oven on. I'm gonna set my oven to 350. And it's looking really good. Let that brown for just another minute or so. So while I'm doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and prepare my toppings. So to go on top, I just had some chunky guac. Of course, you can use your regular regular avocados, but I chose the quick route, and I picked this up from Walmart. This is chunky guacamole. I'm just gonna take a couple scoops, and when I'm done, when my taco cups come out the oven, I'm just gonna slap a scoop on the top of my taco cups. In addition, I just roughly chopped up some red kale. And then of course, with tacos without cilantro. So I just roughly chopped up my cilantro. And again, these are the toppings that will go on top when my tacos are ready to be assembled at the end. All right, so my meat should be done. Again, you don't have to cook it all the way through because they're gonna be going into the oven. Turn that heat off. I'm gonna give you guys a look at what it's looking like so far. All right, so this is what we're looking like so far. It's coming together. If you want it to be more brown, you can always leave it on the heat longer, but I'm throwing them in the oven. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop it here off the heat. And I'm gonna add a scoop or two to my taco cup. And this is just so crazy to me. Like, this really looks like, you know, ground beef. And like, the longer that you leave it on, and if you add like some soy sauce to it and give it like that nice brown color, it really looks like ground beef, what we assume to be ground beef. Okay. I'm gonna just go ahead and take a taste of my taco meat. That's really good. And the different textures, the mushrooms and the walnut go so well together. It just builds that flavor. The mushrooms are nice, soft, and soft and chewy, but then the walnut gives it that nice, like, hearty texture. That's what I was looking for, hearty texture. So the combination between the mushrooms and the walnuts are out of this world, and seasoning right, mind blowing. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and set that to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and pop my taco cup into the oven. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. All right, and then we just bake that until the edges turn brown, and then we're all set to go. So I know that's gonna come together really good.
That looks really good so far, Jasmine.
Yep, and the meat is really, really good. Nice flavor and everything.
I keep seeing walnut meat taco recipes everywhere, and I have yet to try it. And I'm like, I just need to go ahead and do it because
it is delicious.
It is. Yeah. It is so good.
Anybody in the comments, have y'all tried walnut meat tacos? Just walnut meat, period. Let us know how you love it. Lots of people want to know, will there be written recipes for what we're sharing today? I think we can arrange that. What we can do is I'll put together a blog post, so I'll just reach out to the team. We can get written recipes, and then we'll send out an email news blast, just like you got the notification for this live. So you can check out that blog post that will have all the recipes that we'll be featuring here today. Janine wants to know how long to bake, Jasmine. How long are you baking your tacos?
So I just continue to check it, probably like 10 minutes. But again, I'm just waiting for my taco shell to go ahead and brown up and become that nice crisp. Like, I could just eat it right now. Because I actually found out about walnut tacos when I was doing my raw diet. So just cooking it just gives it like a nice little heat and warm feeling. But they are delicious as they are now. So
yeah, that sounds great. And Saray Eaton wants to know, what brand of refried beans do you use?
So this is the brand Siete.
Okay, I love Siete. Siete is a nice grainless brand too, in terms of like the chips and stuff. So
yep, and again, I love like the ingredient labels, all clean ingredients. That's what I love about them.
And what Talia wants to know, what temperature are you baking at, Jasmine?
350.
350. Okay, nice. Okay, perfect. So I think this is the perfect time. I'll transition to start prepping my tacos, and then we're going to see what Ray is making next. So let me introduce you to my lineup. Let me reconfigure. Here we go. All right. So I have put out everything that I am going to be using for my tacos recipe here, but I'm not doing it. I'm going to do it in stages. So basically, I'm making some cheesy chorizo tacos, and this whole dish is inspired by a new product that I happen to find at Walmart. This is a brand called Abbas Butcher. Excuse me, I got this from Target, not Walmart. But I picked this up last week, and it was appealing to me because there are lots of vegan, plant-based alternatives in the grocery store, but oftentimes they have gluten or things like that. And this one looks really clean. So this is a gluten-free and soy-free product. So okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I was trying to see if it was me or not, but yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, sorry about that. So I will pay attention to notifications as they pop up. But this is a super clean ingredients list that looks great. It's just whole foods and pea protein. So this will be my first time trying it with you all tonight, but I'm going to prepare this by sauteing this up with some diced bell pepper. It's basically the equivalent of one bell pepper, but I just have half of a red diced bell pepper and half of a green diced bell pepper. So I'm going to be sauteing these together. And I'm going to be topping it off with some vegan cheese. This is just some shredded vegan provolone and also some leafy greens because I like to get those into every meal. And I see Joyce is asking if I'm muted. Can people hear me now? Just let me know in the comments if I'm good. I just want to
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we have our veggies, we have our chorizo with bell pepper that we're going to be sauteing soon, and then we're going to have a nice crema here. So I reserved some of that citrus that I juiced earlier. So this is just some lemon, lime, and tangerine juice, and I'm going to be blending that together with cashews and raw sunflower seeds. So I soak these overnight so they're nice and soft, and it'll make a nice creamy texture. Some nutritional yeast, like I mentioned, that citrus juice, and then some garlic salt. This is super, super simple. It's going to add some nice creaminess to balance out all those spicy flavors that you're going to find in the chorizo that we're going to be eating. But before I do that, I want to get started with my tortillas because this is going to take no time. So I'm going to be making my own tortillas because I forgot to buy some. But this is a recipe that I have been playing with for the past few months. And these are grain-free soft tortillas, and they're made with steamed sweet potato and cassava flour. So it's basically just equal parts sweet potato and cassava flour. So this is a great way to be able to make your own tortillas or flatbreads. I've used it to make pizza crust before. But basically all I did was take one sweet potato. It was maybe a little bit smaller than this. So one sweet potato, and I steamed it until it was fork tender. And then I mashed it up with my fork. And so now all I'm going to do is mix together the sweet potato with the cassava flour. And the ratio is just about 1-to-1 or equal parts steamed sweet potato and flour. I find that it is nice if it's just a little bit wetter. If you make them too dry, the tortillas get tough really fast. So it's just something you kind of have to play with. But I love making these. I've made them with all types of root vegetables as well, like purple sweet potato, just regular white potatoes. I've also used things like butternut squash or even kabocha pumpkin to make these tortillas. So any of those, orange, fleshy vegetables or tubers that you have can be used to make these tortillas. Super duper simple. You could also just do it the simple way and make your tortillas with flour and water. But I like doing it this way because it just adds in an extra bit of nutrition from the sweet potatoes, all those beautiful beta carotenes that we need to stay so healthy and vibrant in our skin and our bodies working well. Adds extra fiber. And it also adds a nice bit of flavor. I love the slight sweetness that the sweet potatoes add to what we've got going on here. So I kind of just eyeballed the amount of sweet potato, and then I used about 3/4 cup of flour. So it gets to a point where you kind of just have to go in with your hands because it's clumping up a bit too much. You could do this like in a food processor or use a stand mixer if you wanted to, but this recipe is super simple, so it really doesn't take all that. So I'm just using this here, and I'm basically mixing until all the flour is picked up, because we don't want any chalky bits. We want everything to be well incorporated, and it should basically be kind of like soft, like Play-Doh a little bit. So it's looking really white on screen, but it has a really pretty orange color like the flesh of the sweet potato. And I'm using cassava flour today, just because I like to buy it in larger volumes, and that's like the main gluten-free flour that I like to use when I'm creating recipes. But you could even just do this with like corn flour or corn masa. You could do this with wheat flour. You could do this with pretty much any, well, almost any flour. Like coconut flour probably wouldn't work that well, but it is pretty versatile. So, like I said, I'm just continuing to mix. And it will look like a bit that it's super chalky, but if you just keep working it, everything will incorporate well. Okay, we're getting there. We're almost done. And so I have my electric griddle here heating up. It is heating on, let's see, I have it set, oh, I turned it down. I'm going to crank it up to about 375 degrees because I want it to get nice and hot. These cook really quick, pretty much like, I don't know, 30 to 60 seconds on each side, and you flip them over twice. So just working my dough, working my dough. In the comments, let me know, have you made your own tortillas before? Or do you love flour tortillas, corn tortillas, crunchy shells, soft shells? Let me know what your favorite type of tortilla is, and if you've ever made your own tortillas before. And would you try it now that you see how simple it is? Literally just sweet potatoes and some flour, and we've got a dough. Just that easy. Like I said, I'm just working this a bit more to make sure that there's no visible flour. I want that all worked in. Okay, here we go. Looking good. All right, and so now what I'm going to do is basically kind of roll this into a ball. It looks so pale on camera. Let's see, can we get a little bit of color correction here? It's nice and orange. It looks like sweet potato flesh, but just kind of form it into a ball. And then the best way I found to get pretty even balls of tortilla dough is just to split it in half, roll it back in a bit of a ball. It doesn't need to be perfect, and split it in half again. So the amount of dough I just made is probably going to yield, basically depends on the size of tortilla you want. So you could stop here if you want them to be a little bit larger, but I like really small tacos, almost like street taco size. So I'm just going to split them again. So we're going to get 8 tortillas out of this 3/4 cup of cassava flour and 1 steamed sweet potato. Really simple. Very economical way to make your stuff at home. And it is an extra step, you know, but it's fun and the outcome is really good. So okay, so now if you have a tortilla press, you could use that to flatten this out. I do have one, but it's heavy and I don't feel like moving it. So I'm going to do it with my hands today. You could also use like 2 dinner plates and put some sort of like parchment paper on that or wax paper to keep it from sticking. But I'm just rolling it. This is probably about a golf ball size. So this is the size of our dough. And I have 2 small pieces of parchment paper here. And you could just form it with your hands, but honestly, I'm not that skilled yet. So I'm just gonna flatten it out. You could also use like a rolling pin, take a rolling pin to it if you wanted to get it nice and even. I wanna get these on the thinner side for sure. Okay, so here we go. Just flatten it with my hand once again. This dough is a little bit more delicate than working with like a wheat flour because is gluten-free, so it doesn't have that like protein in it. That's going to help it to stretch and bounce back, so it's more tender. So you do need, I find, the parchment paper to keep it intact when you're trying to get it this flat. But yeah, so now we're just going to gently peel back the parchment. Let me make sure y'all can see. Just going to gently peel back the parchment paper and then flip it over and do it again so it releases nice and easy. Sometimes it will tear. All right, so we've got that nice and flat. And now I'm just going to kind of slap it. I'm going to turn the heat up all the way to 400 and slap it into our griddle. And like I said, it maybe takes 30 to 60 seconds per side to get it cooked all the way through. So while that cooks, what I'm going to do is put together, oh, am I? It's cooking really fast. Let me see. Can y'all see this? It's already starting to get the little bubbles popping up. So I think I need to focus on the mission at hand. So when it's ready to flip, honestly, it's going to easily release from your pan, especially if you're cooking with something that might be non-stick, but you can see it's already sliding around. So we got it going. And also when it starts to look a little bit ashy on the top, you know it's a good time to flip. And so we flipped it, and let's see. There you go. You can kind of see the golden brown on there. So I'm going to show you a close-up. But yeah, you can kind of see the golden brown color forming based off of the natural sugars that are in the sweet potato. So it gives it this like lightly sweet, lightly caramelized flavor that I think is going to complement the tangy crema and the smoky, spicy chorizo really, really well. So we're just going to continue to cook this. All right, I'm a little bit more comfortable letting this cook for a little bit while I put together this cashew and sunflower crema super duper fast. It really is so easy. It's just about as easy as making the drink I just showed you how to make. So like I said, this is equal parts raw cashews and raw sunflower seeds that have been soaked overnight in water, so they've expanded in size by about 50%. I would say this is about a cup total that I'm putting in right now. So I'm just going to put that into the blender. And this is the same blender I'm using. This is just a smaller cup attachment that comes with it. And then I'm going to add in, this is about 3 tablespoons of my citrus juice. You could just do lemon juice, just do lime juice. You could do maybe a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, but we want to add some nice tang. Then we have about 3.5 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. That's going to give it that nice, nutty, cheesy flavor. And then we're going to go in with about a 1/2 teaspoon of garlic salt. So this is going to give us our saltiness and a little bit of aromatic flavor. And then we're also going to go in with some water here. You could also use plain unsweetened plant milk if you like, but I'm using water. This is a 1/2 cup total. I'm going to use, let's go for it. I'm going to dump it all in and see what happens. Okay, so we've got this, screwed our lid on. This is a high-powered speed, making things really smooth. So I'm okay, so this is all done blending. And we have a beautiful creamy crema here. It has a nice slightly orange tint from the from the citrus juice that we added in, and actually I'm going to pour it for y'all so you can see it has a really nice thickness. So yes, this is going to be an excellent topping for our chorizo tacos. And with that said, I think it's time to bring it back to the group so we can see what Ray is going to be cooking up for us. Hey y'all.
You all just witnessed the genius that is Jessica, aka Love Vegan Soul. Listen, if I was going outside, I'd be like, oh Lord, somebody call Instacart. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
I feel right. Like I'm so, I guess, intimidated about making my own tortilla shells. But now that she made them, I know it's possible. So I'm gonna have to give it a try.
That looks so easy.
It's kind of fun too, and you can use anything. So it's nice. It's like creative. It's cute. So, yeah.
And listen, y'all, if y'all don't have the creative genius, like I don't, if we don't have the creative genius, like just listen, that you have the biggest resource at your fingertips, the internet. There's tons of resources on our website where we have all kinds of recipes. You can go online searching for all the fabulous vegan chefs that are in the world, just out here doing it, just making things up. I do it. I'll look in a minute like, I want to kind of make this. Let me see who I can copy real quick. So don't feel uninspired just because these things don't come to your head. You've got the www at your fingertips and people like Jess that can show you how to do it and show you do not have to be intimidated.
Yes, that's excellent. We all start somewhere. And so that's definitely how I learned, was researching for inspiration. So I think that's an excellent piece of advice, Ray. And are you ready to take it away with your recipe?
I am.
All right, the floor is yours.
All right, y'all. So thanks for joining me back here. I'm going to do something with jackfruit. And a lot of people don't know what jackfruit is, or they've heard bad things. It kind of gets the bad rap. You know, I feel like I like to pull up the little people. So I'm going to pull up jackfruit. We're going to savor it, okay? So jackfruit, obviously, it's a super big kind of watermelon-sized, prickly type of fruit. And on the inside, it's like yellow, looks kind of gooey. We're not working with that, okay? What you want to do if you're trying to do any cooking is get the canned jackfruit. Reason being is that it's sitting in brine and it's had a chance to get some of the sweetness of the fruit off of there. If you try to cook a savory dish with the actual fruit itself, you will meet disaster. And just don't tell anybody, and then go and get the can, and then you can start from scratch, and that's all we'll know, right? All right, so let's get started. Now, depending on what you're doing with the jackfruit will kind of determine how to prep, at least in my opinion, because again, it is a fruit, so it does still have that like sweet and tangy taste to it. So if I'm doing something where I might bake it or anything like that, then I'll usually soak it a little bit in like some apple cider vinegar and try to soak it for like 8 hours just to try and get some of that out. But depending on the recipe, like what I'm doing tonight, I'm doing the carnitas, and I actually boiled it in vegan beef broth. So let me show you what I use. Not beef. And this is Edward & Sons, but usually markets have a version of it. They also come in not chicken and things like that. And that boiling with the jackfruit, I usually boil it depending on what I'm doing. So I boiled this because it's really going to rely on the flavor here. I boiled this for about 45 minutes. Now, boil that with some vegetable broth, some water, and then I put some seasonings in here. Now, typically carnitas are pork, so you want to go for a more like savory, deep flavor. So that's why I chose the beef and didn't go with the chicken. But just like with anything, you also need your seasonings. So what I used for my seasonings as it was boiling, I used pepper, I used oregano, I used some cumin, I used bay leaves, garlic powder, and a touch of salt and pepper. And I want to show you what jackfruit is going to look like to show you the contrast and the importance of boiling. So this is like the color of the jackfruit. You see how pale that is? Now let me show you what it looks like after having boiled it in the beef broth. So you see how brown that is? I'm gonna hold this up again in comparison. You see that? It's like ebony and ivory almost, right? So yeah, you know this has some flavor in it because it's like it can't be this brown and not have flavor, right? And this is the can I use. Now you can get these from Asian markets, and all different markets have them. It's much more common now. I tend to get mine from Trader Joe's, and you want to get the jackfruit in brine. No kind of syrups or anything like that, because remember, it's a fruit, so it already has sweetness. You want to get it in brine. So this is the jackfruit, and you want to get the young jackfruit. All right, so I'm going to put the fire on it. Now, what I'm going to use, because I'm going to fry this, okay? What I'm going to use, and this is my favorite to fry with, is sun cocoa. Sun cocoa is a combination of sunflower oil and coconut oil. It has a very high smoke point. So I use this if I'm going to fry anything because of the high smoke point. So this is sun cocoa, and this is by La Torrent, which you can find many places, tons of stores. I tend to get it off like Amazon or something like that, where I can find it a little cheaper. Or if I see it on sale, I might grab it. I use the big one, although I don't do a lot of frying, but I like to have it on deck, because if I am going to do something with frying, then I'm probably going to use a good amount of oil. So this is my favorite to use. So I've got this going, and we're ready to fry up some jackfruit. Anytime I get excited about food, I hope you get excited about food too, especially when you're listening to us, because we like to eat. Now with the jackfruit, again, this is the chunk. In order to shred this, I took 2 forks and I put one in one end and used the shredding. But by me boiling it for that good amount of time, and of course we're talking vegan, so there is no bone. We didn't have any animal suffering, okay? So this is all to the good. We've got the meat falling off the meat, honey. So look at this. You see this? I just pulled this out the pot. It's meat falling off of meat already. So me taking the 2 forks and doing the shredding, I didn't have much to do at all. So now this is my pot of shredded jackfruit. So I'm gonna put it in the pan. With carnitas, you just fry, after you cook your meat, you go ahead and fry it up for a little bit, okay? Now, when I pulled the jackfruit out of the liquid, I saved the liquid. Because once it's fried up and it's got a nice little crisp, you want to add a little bit of that juice, because remember, we put all the seasonings in the pot. So that's some good juice right there. I don't know if anybody from the South, and you cook your collard greens and you have the pot liquor and you save that at the end because it's got all the savory stuff in there. Yeah, that's kind of what we got going on here. And we're going to use a little bit of that to put in our pan. So because we boiled it, we won't have to fry it for too long. We just want to get a good crisp on there. And because we're going to fry it, we don't have to have it on for too long, but we can put on the heat, right? Because we want to get that good fry going. So when we come back, it should be nice and crisp. So to go along with that, I just have some veggies, you know what I mean? I wanted to keep it Mexican. So I have here some zucchini, some onions, and some yellow and orange peppers, okay? And this is my preference. However you do your thing, do it. I kind of like to season some of my veggies before they go in, depending, like not with the salt and pepper. I like to use that as it's cooking. But for this, I have to season it. It's got the zucchini, which, has a lot of water in it. So it can start to soak up as it starts to sweat, get these things simmering. I call it a pre-treatment, okay? And with this, I'm not frying these, I'm sauteing. And what I use to saute is a grapeseed oil. This is the same brand as La Torrent, same places you can find it. And grapeseed also has a high smoke point. So although you could fry with this if you want, but because I am sauteing it, and obviously, it's going to bring the heat, this is a good oil to use. Or you could also use your olive oil, but to my knowledge, this has a higher smoke point. So I have that going here in the pan. Like I said, I've seasoned it. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I use to season. And I know Trader Joe's isn't everywhere, but I use Trader Joe's. It's a citrusy garlic flavoring. But if you don't have this, whatever you like to use to put on some Mexican spice to anything, you want to put a little cumin, a little cayenne pepper, a little lime juice, whatever floats your boat. But for me, I pre-season these with citrusy garlic. Once it starts cooking, I am going to add just a tiny bit of salt. And because we're aiming for the pork taste of the carnitas, I've got some sage. Sage is my favorite seasoning when I want to do something savory. Sage for savory. You remember that? You're good to go for life, baby. Sage for savory. So I'm going to use a little bit of sage on that. And of course, like Jazz mentioned, can't say the Mexican without the cilantro, okay? Now, I'm not the biggest fan of cilantro at all, but I understand its purpose in the world and I respect it. And it does step up the notch on your things a little bit. So I do tend to not use the fresh because that's just too much cilantro. I needed to dial down the cilantro. I don't want to tell it to have your small voice, but I need my cilantro to have its inside small voice. So I just use the ones in the bottom. So I'm going to put these in, let them get to sauteing. And when I come back, we're going to have some fried jackfruit. And we're going to have some nice sauteed veggies. We're going to be ready to eat, right? Thanks for chilling. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I don't have the sweet potato, but I got a little something going on over here.
Ray, I can't believe your thoughts on cilantro. Cilantro is delicious.
I can't.
Fresh form.
I can't. Even when I make like guacamole, I still just use. I can't. I just use a little bit. I can't do it. I can't. I respect it.
Right. Okay.
But no.
Ray, what brand of vegan beef broth did you use?
This is Edward and Sons.
Okay.
I've seen different stores have their own version. I shop at Sprouts Farmers Market pretty frequently, and they do have their own. As a matter of fact, I used the last cube in this one, and in my cupboard, I do have the Sprouts brand. So any old brand will do. You can use the vegan, not beef bouillon.
Better than bouillon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can use those. Anyone will do.
Nice. Yes, well, folks are very inspired. I think their mouths are watering from what we're seeing here. I'm working away on these tortillas. I didn't get to show y'all. I have a couple more cooked while Ray was prepping. So this is what they're looking like.
They're nice and golden brown. I love it.
Yeah, they're really nice. And well, you could see the golden brown for a second. But they have a nice faint sweetness and they're turning out well. I did crank out my tortilla press too because it was making it faster, but you don't need one to make it. But I think I'm ready to see. I think we're all ready to see how your tacos are coming along, Jasmin. So
Yep.
All right.
All right, everyone. So these were only in for 10 minutes. Like I stated earlier, you can see I waited for the shells to become like a nice golden brown. And you see the ground meat also brown up a little more while we're in the oven. That's what we're looking for. So now we're at the stage we can go ahead and layer our tacos up. Now I wish I had some pico de gallo, but of course I don't have it. But it just gives it that nice citrusy, tangy flavor. But all is not lost. I'm going in, like I said earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and begin layering up my tacos. So again, I have some red kale, sprinkle that on top. You can use any greens that you're doing, of course, spring mix or iceberg lettuce, which a lot of people usually use on tacos. But my favorite green is kale because it's nice, dark, leafy, and full of minerals and vitamins. So, and of course, I'm gonna go ahead and add my guac. I'm just adding a scoop on top. And I'm gonna go ahead and top that with some of my cilantro, which is not Ray's favorite, but I love it. So give it a nice little garnish. So earlier this week, I was trying this recipe out, and I actually did make a walnut cheese, but I did not make it today. But the walnut cheese is so delicious, and it's so easy to make, especially if you want to try raw. It's so easy to make this recipe raw. You push out for like a iceberg lettuce or collard wrap. You don't cook the walnut meat; you just season it with herbs and different raw seasonings, and then you just add the toppings because they are raw, and then you have yourself a raw walnut taco, and it's so delicious. I tried raw vegan for a couple of weeks, and that was my go-to recipe. It was like I wasn't even raw. But anyway, the walnut cheese recipe, use a cup of walnuts. You don't have to soak them because you're going to be blending them up. Use a teaspoon of lemon juice, your seasonings, garlic powder, onion powder, nutritional yeast, some sea salts. You blend that together until it's a nice smooth consistency. You fill it with a little bit of water just above the walnuts, and you have yourself a nice walnut cheese sauce. And again, you alter water based on how thick or how runny you want your cheese sauce to be. But I tried it on these tacos and it was delicious. But today I'm just sticking to my guac, and this is what we're looking like. So delicious. And I'm gonna put up a little close so you can see how the meat browned. It's really good. I'm waiting for it to cool off because yesterday when it came right out the oven, I bit into it and the beans at the bottom were really hot. So I learned my lesson, but it is delicious.
You almost burned your face off, Jasmin.
But it was still good. It was still good. But that's it. It's nice, simple, easy to the point. And again, you can top it with any of your go-to taco ingredients. Again, I wish I had a little pico de gallo, but I know this is delicious. So this is what we're working with. And I'm all done. You see I garnished my plate with a little cilantro to take it up a little bit. But this is really it. And again, I think this is good. Like if you have kids, they can hold it in their hands. And it's like a little cup. You're good to go. So I'm all done here and ready to enjoy my tacos.
Those look so good. And I always enjoy the recipes you share because they are really simple, but they use like such great ingredients. And so like in terms of like tips for going vegan, like where did you get your inspiration from when you first started going vegan? Like how did you learn how to cook?
Well, when I first went vegan was back in 2011. I believe I was in college then. So I really wasn't cooking. It was always going to the cafe. My campus had a cafeteria, and luckily they had sort of like a vegetarian section. So sometimes they would do like Indian dishes, like a lot of cultural dishes, because those are mostly vegan sometimes. So of course I had that. But I must admit, starting off, I was more of a junk food vegan. So anything that said vegan in it, but still junk, I was the fries, the chicken nuggets. That's the type of vegan I was. As I became a little older, I started incorporating more whole foods into my diet. So for me, it's really picking a couple of meals that you really like. For me, I love tofu, I love broccoli, and I love like a rice or quinoa. So that's like my go-to recipe. Another go-to recipe for me is like fajitas. So I'm sauteing up some bell peppers, onions, putting that over rice, and then sometimes I also like ramen. So I'm finding a recipe like that, and I just keep those in rotation. And then another one is like a chickpea coconut curry recipe. I keep those in rotation. I perfect those, and I'm good to go. You don't have to make veganism difficult. All these little fancy recipes are great, but you keep it simple. You find something that makes your taste buds jump for joy, and you're good to go. So that's how I like to cook it. That's, I think, you're mute.
I love that insight, Jasmin, because like even though I create recipes and stuff, usually my approach to creating recipes is like, even if I want to try something complex, I'll make it a couple times and then try to condense the steps in as few steps as possible. Like, how can I eliminate some steps in the middle here to make this like as simple as possible? But then like same like in terms of having a rotation of like meals, like favorite meals you eat, like for me, I eat super simply. So like for the most part, it's like I have some sort of like bean or legume and I decide what flavor I want it to be. Like, am I in the mood for Latin American or Indian or whatever? And I spice it that way. And then I just have like, okay, am I making a pot of rice to eat this week? Or am I like steaming a bunch of sweet potatoes or potatoes? Am I going to be baking oven frying fries and then like salad or steamed vegetables? Like it's a pretty simple rotation. And then once you're used to like having those basic components, if you add on, then you can like rotate and intertwine as many ways as you want and make like infinite meals. So
Yep. I think another point to make is even though we have these recipes, and sometimes I'm turned off because I may not have like a specific ingredient that recipe calls for, but we really have to hone into our intuition. Like, you don't have to be afraid to steer away from the recipe. Like use your intuition to guide you on how to season your recipes.
Yes.
There's no law telling you, oh, this must be done this way. Like the kitchen is an opportunity for you to get so creative and just enjoy cooking. And it's like a trial and error. You try something until you master it.
That's great. And Ray, I know you're very you very much share look for advice, look for inspiration. Like, how did you start cooking, and what has been your go-to, I don't know, tips or tricks for getting comfortable with what you do make in the kitchen?
Kind of like Jazz mentioned. So all my life, whenever I wanted to try something new, I would look at several different recipes, right? So I take maybe a look at maybe 5 to 6, and I want to see what's consistent. Okay, so do I use these type of veggies? Do I put the oven on this temperature and keep it on for this amount? So I look at the basics that are consistent across a couple recipes to say, okay, so this is actual strategy as opposed to a variation where you can go left, go right, wherever you want to go. And so when I use those consistencies, I look at that and say, okay, now how can I spice it up? Because I look at flavorings, and for me, I don't know about anyone else, but I have this thing, if I don't know what I want to season something with, I'll usually just open the seasoning, take a whiff, and the way it'll hit my palate whenever I'm thinking about what I'm going to cook, I'm like, I think I want to do that. And there's also, it's a meme, but it's funny. Sometimes, the ancestors will talk to you and tell you what you want to put in, and then tell you when to stop too. I'll go into my cabinet of flavors and I'll say, what do I want? Then I'll hear something. I'm like, all right, I'll go with that. And honestly, you may not believe me, but 2 of my most favorite recent recipes have just come from going in, looking here, and waiting until I start hearing seasonings. And it's the craziest stuff. I was making some sauteed zucchini with some onions, and I heard a dash of cinnamon. I was like, a dash of cinnamon? Cinnamon is some zucchini. But I put that with my usual spices. Oh my goodness gracious. I was like, oh, okay. This is going in my little recipe book. So yeah, I mean, again, you don't have to be intimidated if you don't have something. If you have any seasonings, try it out. Sometimes your greatest dishes will come from when you just veer off the road.
I love that you said that. The key ingredient, just being like you said, cinnamon. One for me is apple cider vinegar. When I put that in my kale, if I'm cooking some kale down, it really transforms the flavor. And you might think putting apple cider vinegar and things to, match up the flavor. But that's a secret, a hidden secret, I think.
I'm with that too. For me, I've been especially trying to create meaty flavors in dishes, the combination of smoked paprika and tamari sauce or coconut aminos, liquid aminos, those 2 things together take things over the edge where it's ooh, this is really good. So yeah, it's nice to learn your foundations of what you're comfortable with, and then once you get comfortable, you'll feel more confident with taking a step and trying that new secret ingredient that's gonna elevate whatever you've been making this whole time. So yeah. We have a question from one of our viewers. Janine wants to know, what is your favorite vegan cheddar cheese?
Okay.
I can go. My go-to is Follow Your Heart. I like Follow Your Heart vegan cheese a lot. I think it's just really reliable. Yeah, it's not super sharp, so if you love a really sharp cheddar cheese, it's not that, but it's solid, and I like it enough. For me, I like it cold and melted. A lot of vegan cheeses I don't like melted because the way it melts is too gluey or something. I don't know how to describe it. It gets that melty look, but I don't like the texture, and so I like Follow Your Heart quite a bit. Yeah.
I think I like the Miyoko's from House Cheddar. And again, I like Miyoko's because I like to look at the ingredient labels and see what they're putting in the food. And I think Miyoko's is a pretty straightforward brand and pretty good ingredients. And I think that cheddar has really good flavor. So that's my go-to.
For me, I like I have a couple Miyoko's, Follow Your Heart.
Hey, Ray.
I like Chow.
Oh yeah, Chow.
And also BioLife. I love BioLife. They have this smoked Gouda that is my absolute favorite. Absolute favorite. So try them all. Catch them on sale, grab them up, and see what's your favorite.
Yes, shopping on sale is a big one. Shopping on sale is a big one. And oftentimes if you visit like brands' websites, they'll have like printable coupons or things like that as well. So yeah, if you're interested in trying something new, definitely visit the brand website. Or even if you have social media, like you can DM them and ask them, do you have a coupon? And they'll oftentimes give you one. So, you know, yeah, you don't have to spend all your coins trying to figure out what you're
Definitely. I'm not tied to a brand. It's like I go to market, whoever is offering me a sale, if that price speaks to me, that's who I'm going with.
Yes. Well, I have got my peppers going in this pan and they're ready to get mixed up. So I am going to bring you back to my cheesy chorizo tacos, and then we're going to see Ray's carnitas and come back together again. So I'm going to come to the center of the screen and we can take the next steps together. Okay, so I took my my bell peppers and I added them to the pan. They've been cooking over high heat in this electric skillet. If you're cooking over a flame, I would reduce it to medium or medium low. But I just wanted to get these softened up and get some of the flavor to come out a bit. And they also started to get a really nice char on them. I'm going to act like that's on purpose. But yeah, so it's going to bring out some nice flavors here. And this is what the Abbott's Butcher chorizo looks like when it comes out of the package. It comes in like this almost bowl thing. So I feel like you could probably microwave it. I don't use a microwave, but if you do, feel free. But basically it just says cook it in a pan for 8 to 10 minutes. So I'm going to do just that. Put that straight in here. And then I'm going to use my spatula to break it up. And honestly, the whole goal here is just, I'm not adding any extra seasoning. This is my first time using this product, so I really want to see what it's about. But there are lots of delicious vegan chorizos out there as well if you love chorizo. And chorizo is also great. It's often, it's a Mexican sausage or a Spanish sausage. And so people often use it in like breakfast as well. So I can see this being really good like in a tofu scramble too, if you want to have like that Latin American flair for your breakfast. But we're doing the tacos today. So I'm just gonna let this heat up. And honestly, this really is the final step of my taco prep process. This needs a bit of time to heat up in this pan. And then what I'm gonna do once this heats through for about 8 minutes is sprinkle my vegan cheese on top, add a dash of water. You could use oil if you wanted to, but I like to dry saute or maybe add a little bit of water if I need things to get moving, just to reduce the amount of added fat I'm adding to my dishes. But yeah, once this is nice and hot, I'm going to sprinkle on this vegan cheese, add a splash of water, put the lid on so it can get nice and melty on top, and then I'm going to assemble my tacos. So very straightforward, super duper simple. I got a little more fancy with the tortillas because I knew I was keeping it super simple with the filling today. So with that said, I think we can bring it back to the group and then head over to Ray to see her assemble her carnitas for us.
All right, y'all. Y'all see my my fire alarm was trying to hate because it couldn't take the heat. I told it to get out the kitchen, so it did. So
You're not alone. Last time I was here, my fire alarm went off, but luckily I was on camera.
You gotta keep cooking through the complications, and we're gonna get to the other side to where the food is.
Just saying. All right, so I've got these jackfruit all put together, and it's just time to put them on my tortillas. And again, this is carnitas. So, you know, you're going to have the fry. You're going to get the char on there, obviously, because you want to get that flavor all put in. So what I've used for my tortilla, just some really simple ones. Just some corn tortillas, just got it out the store. They're organic, doesn't have but like 3 or 4 ingredients on there. But, you know, take a look. You'd be very surprised. It doesn't have to be name brand. I mean, it's all about turning over and reading the labels. You'd be very surprised. So putting those on here, and I did want to bring up another cheese, okay? Daya. So this is their Mexican 4 cheese blend. Between that and BioLife, these are my go-tos when it comes to like getting the shredded cheese. They also have mozzarella, a Colby, and a cheddar. Yeah, so yeah, you can use these for whatever. This is one of my favorites for when I'm doing Mexican dishes, especially if I'm doing like taco nights on Tuesday or anything like that. So I like to use those. And just keeping it simple, really, guys. Just plating these. I'm going to put my shredded cheese on top. And again, this has a really good mix. It has a really, really good mix. Diet changed their recipe maybe a few years back. So it really just, it gave like a fuller taste to their product. So I really like what they did with that. And just to be a little bit extra, okay, because I don't have guacamole, but I do have some vegan sour cream. And the vegan sour cream I am going to use is Kite Hill. Kite Hill makes a lot of dairy-free alternative products, including yogurt. I do like their yogurt. They have like peach, vanilla bean, strawberry. Pretty common. You can find them a lot of places. Kite Hill makes a lot of good alternative products. So with the sour cream, I don't like to put the sour cream on my product. I like to have it as an option on the side. I'm a Libra, okay? I like options. Like, I don't like to be forced into anything. So I am going to put the sour cream on the side. So that way, if I want to put a dollop, I can. And I don't want to put a dollop, I don't have to. I don't have to be forced, okay? I don't like being forced into stuff. So I'm going to put that in the middle. And now I'm going to go over to my veggies. There is something about veggies when you get that seasoning, and especially if you have like veggies that have a lot of water in them. And as they start to release a little bit of water as they're cooking and the flavoring seeps in, woo-wee, woo-wee. And that's one of the reasons why I really like cooking with zucchini. Zucchini is so kind to your cause. It's hey baby, you want to put some seasoning on me? You go ahead and do your thing. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. So I've got my zucchini veggies, and don't forget, I did put some yellow and red peppers in here, and I also sauteed up some onions for not just for flavor, but also just for the appeal of color. You know, we do eat with our eyes a lot. You know what I mean? It gets our taste buds going, where we're like, ooh, like, you know, some of the things you're looking at through the screen, you're like, oh, okay, that looks kind of good. I would do that. So, you know, it's a lot of the visualization. It's like the foreplay to your meal. Hey, we can talk. We're all adults, right? I hope so. All right, so let me just show you what it looks like. We've got our carnitas, and we've got the vegan cheese. And if you want to jazz up your carnitas, you can. If you wanted to put like some corn in them, you could, or peppers or whatever. But because I know I was going hard on the veggies here, I didn't want to be too like dynamic over here. I wanted to keep it simple. I wanted the flavor of the jackfruit to come through with the shredded cheese and this. And I'll probably do some salsa. It depends on when I take my first bite. I kind of like where this is going with the flavor. So I don't want to overpower it with too much. And something as bland as the sour cream will be just enough. Plus, I've got so many flavors here. Like, look at these veggies. You see all that flavor? That's going to be good. I wish I can share it with y'all. I can't, because I'm probably going to eat it all between like today, tomorrow, and the next day and hide it from my man. Don't tell him. But yeah, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. So you have to believe me when I say it's good. Better yet, you can make it yourself. And please, when you do, make sure you tag Afro-Vegan Society, because we definitely want to see how you're doing with these recipes, okay? Thank you for chilling. Hey, look at that steam. Hey, yeah.
Looking muy delicioso, Ray.
Right, looks so good.
Yes. Okay. We're ready. My chorizo's ready. So I'm going to come back to the main screen real quick, plate this up, and then we're going to come back together and eat these tacos, because I feel like it's time. It's really time for this. Okay, so let me do this. All right, so when I just checked my pan, you saw a bunch of steam escape. That's because I added a few tablespoons of water in here, and then like I said, I just added on my shredded vegan cheese and let that melt a little bit. You can see that it has melted down. And so I have here 2 of my homemade sweet potato cassava tortillas. These are grain-free tortillas that I made at home here earlier in this demo. And I'm just going to take a few spoonfuls of this chorizo, or maybe just one. I always overfill my tacos, so I'm going to use some restraint. But I'm going to add a nice heaping spoon and a half or 2 of the chorizo on top of the tacos. So I got my sweet potatoes, I got my greens. Next up, I'm going to go in with some of this crema that I put together. This was just soaked cashews and sunflower seeds, along with some citrus juice, garlic salt, and a little bit of water. So we're just going to put that right on top. It's got a nice smooth texture, but it's also really nice and thick, and it's even thickened up even more since it's been sitting here on the counter, which I like to see. I don't want it to be too runny. I'm going to turn the heat off here on the skillet. And then finally, I cut up some little cherry tomatoes. So I'm just going to top those on top just to finish it all off. Wish list. What do I wish was on these tacos as well? Some avocado, some pickled red onions, but we're working with what we got today. These are going to be super satisfying. But also, let me taste something. Okay. That cream is really good, but I also want to, let's do this with everybody. What am I doing? Hey, y'all. I'm about to start eating. They're like, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. But no, I wanted to do a taste test of the chorizo, because like I said, this is a new product I found, so let's give it a taste.
Just where do you find that product at?
I got it from Target, actually, and I have a small Target in my neighborhood, so it was right in the little plant-based section where like the vegan cheeses and tofu and stuff is. So,
okay. First impression. Okay, I gotta give it a
try.
try.
It's not. Honestly, when I was still eating meat and I tried chorizo, I didn't like it because it was so greasy. You know, there's a lot of oil in chorizo if you've ever cooked it before. Mm-hmm. So it's not super oily, but it has a really nice texture, a really good chew to it from the pea protein, I'm assuming. Okay. And then the spices are there, but it's not overpowering. So if you can't really do spicy food, this is perfect for you. And then you can always add your extra spice if you want to kick it up a little bit more. But it's a good base product. So if you see it and you're interested, I would definitely give it a try, especially if you're gluten-free and soy-free. So
it didn't look too oily when you showed us to it in the bowl. Like when I used to get like the chorizo from Trader Joe's, the plant-based one, like it's just like oil, like when you cut it,
Yeah, so this is a nice, let's see, it says so a container has 3 servings and there's only 6 grams of fat per serving. So relatively low fat. I don't usually check those things, but I know people do, so that hopefully means something to to people out there. Are we ready to take our bites? Do we want to go in order at the same time?
Same time.
Okay. All right, so final close up.
Cheers.
All right, and here we go. Really good.
It does wonders.
I
said the layers really does wonders. The beans, the mushroom, walnut meat, the avocado, the next level.
Delicious. Yeah. This taco is really nice because, like you said, the layers add something. So the crema bounces out the spice from the chorizo, the freshness from the tomatoes and the lettuce is really good, and the tortillas are really tender and very slightly sweet. So it's just a really nice combination of everything in each bite.
Mine are good. I love the veggies. I really get the flavoring in the jackfruit. Now the corn tortilla that I selected, it's a little pronounced. So I would say when I do this again, if I use these same ones, I will probably just saute them in the pan a little bit just to get the flavor of whatever I cooked, to season that a little bit. But it's good.
What kind of tortilla did you use, Ray? Because I like a nice corny corn tortilla. Like I like to taste the corn stuff.
This is called La Tortilla Factory.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look out for them.
Someone adorable.
Yeah, they sound good. I love corn tortillas. So yeah, that's good to know. Someone asked the product I'm referring to, Demi, is Abbott's Butcher plant-based chorizo, and I picked it up from Target. It's a newer product. I feel like they make something else too, but they're gluten-free and soy-free. So yes, we are about to get our grub on. If you've enjoyed this virtual happy hour, please like this video. Give us a like. Go ahead, do that right now for us. Show us some love. We appreciate it because we're going to be back again next month. Our team is rotating on these virtual happy hours, so you'll see some new faces next month. Next month is June, so it's actually going to be a Juneteenth inspired virtual happy hour. So you're not going to want to miss that. We thank y'all so much for watching with us tonight. We had 50 people viewing at once at one point, so the room was full. So we
appreciate y'all.
Yeah, the virtual happy hour vibes. Anything y'all want to say, Jasmin or Ray, before we close it out?
Yeah, we appreciate it. I appreciate it, especially on a 3-day weekend when you want to turn up or turn down and go to sleep and get your rest for the weekend. We appreciate your time so much.
And be sure to let us know how you, if you try the recipes and how they turn out.
Yes, please do. And we will also, like I said, we'll send out an email when the blog post with the recipes from this live is published. And and hopefully you find a little bit of inspiration to incorporate some tacos into your cookout somehow this weekend. You know, get a little fancy with it. With that, cheers, ladies.
Cheers.
Cheers. See you next month, everyone. And stay in touch with Afro-Vegan Society for more. Love y'all. Bye, everybody.